Yes, for Lagos, I can speak about Lagos, that the local government administration is working in Lagos, and like you said, it's still the closest of government to the people at the grassroots. And for Lagos State, I can say categorically that it is actually working in Lagos
Why?
State.
What are some of those parameters?
Because local government, as the closest to the grassroots, is performing its functions in Lagos State.
Okay.
Those things that they are expected to provide as stated by the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, they are providing it. For example, local government has its own routes, which is called I think the Trunk C routes, which they are to construct, rehabilitate, and make sure that it's working well. Primary education, which is the primary school, primary health care centers, which is the health care delivery side of the local government. I believe that, and so on and so forth, the local government in Lagos State, at least compared to what we have in other states, is functioning well.
It's functioning well. Okay.
Yes.
As the conversation continues, I'm sure we will delve more into Jibola.
All right. If that's the situation, there is a particular issue that we have raised on this platform over and over again. If the local government is indeed impacting the people, then why are they always reluctant to come out and vote? Because that's the closest arm of government to the people. So if indeed they are interested in their development, in their growth, why can't they come out and exercise their constitutional rights?
Generally, if you look at the figures, maybe let's say from 1999, 2003, 2007, and so on, you will have noticed that even in general elections, voter apathy keeps increasing. If you check the figures, you will see that people are registering when it comes to voters' cards, but when it comes to election proper, the figures have always been reducing. And I think that that's exactly what happens to the local government elections generally. Again, let me use Lagos State, for example. Whatever figures you have in Lagos State during local government elections is still way higher than what we have in other states. If you look at the processes that leads to the local government elections or local government administration in Lagos, which is campaign, election, then the swearing and the administration, Lagos is still faring very, very, very better. I was telling somebody yesterday that in other states, you will just hear that our local government election is so date. The results are announced maybe 5 days to the election. And by Sunday, the election will take place on Saturday, and by Sunday, you hear announcement of chairman, vice chairman, swearing happens on Monday. But in Lagos, you will see a guideline, from LASEC. You will also see another guideline from parties, especially the ruling party now. And so you have weeks, months before elections, preparations, campaigns goes on, nominations, buying of forms and all of that. And so I still see that in Lagos State, you still have some numbers, even though the numbers are very few compared to what we have even in general elections, but it's still better. And I also believe that the process in Lagos is getting better. What we had in 2021, if you look at what we are having presently from when the LASEC has released its guideline and to when the party also has come out, I think that there's an improvement compared to 4 years ago. So I also believe that during the voting exercise, during the July 12th election date, I also believe that the numbers will increase.
Right. We also, I particularly like the fact that once asked any question, you always just say using your Lagos experience, Lagos as a case study. And because we are particular about Lagos here, we also know that it's been close to a year that, the Supreme Court gave a judgment on the autonomy of local government, especially concerning their funds from the Federation account. And so in the light of that, and still using Lagos as a case study, would you say that local governments are truly autonomous or they're still largely controlled by the state governments?
Well, in Lagos, what the Supreme Court judgment actually spoke on financial, which is LG financial autonomy. And to a very large extent, since, in 2003, during the administration of Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the current president, LCDs were created out of the 20
Local
LGs, local
areas.
governments. And I believe, to the best of my knowledge, I know that the local governments have been getting their money, even though they are not fully, independent from the state government, but the local governments have been getting their money. And that's why we have this development that we have in Lagos.
Okay.
Because the money gets to the local government, and then the sharing formula, I don't know about the sharing formula, which goes also to the LCDs. So, and that's why we have this development in Lagos. I mentioned the other time that the local government are performing their functions. These functions are being performed with funds.
Right.
And it is because these funds are getting to them. That's why you have this function. So, to a very large extent, and to the best of my knowledge, this financial autonomy is working in Lagos and has been working in Lagos.
Okay.
Not even, although the money doesn't come directly from the FG purse to the local government purse. But I know that when it comes to the state disbursed, to the local government.
But is that still autonomy,
That's not
or
full.
a semblance?
It's
not full.
No, it's not full.
Okay, so
I
a
would say it's not
semblance
full.
of
The semblance.
autonomy.
The full edgy financial autonomy that the Supreme Court talks about
They should get their money directly.
And that's why you've heard that the CBN has asked that
They
the
open
local government,
And
the
we are
account
still
details of
full
the local
dragging.
government, and
We're
it's still
full
for dragging
dragging
since
over
then.
that.
But let me say again, and that's why Lagos is still better and still, ahead of other states. I can tell you that there are states in this country whereby the governor just pushed like 5 million, 10 million to the local government chairman. Every other thing, which is the local government functions, are still being performed
By the states.
by the state. And so even in other states, you don't even have any semblance of LG financial autonomy.
Okay.
Yeah, so in Lagos, we can say to a very large extent, we have this, working since even 2003, before this president came. This administration came and said they want it in a full way.
Right.
So it's still better in Lagos.
Okay.
Okay, the activities of local government and local council development areas is complementary to that of the state government.
Yes.
So what should be the role of the people, CDCs and CDAs in supporting the local government administration to further transform the nooks and crannies of our grassroots?
You see, what I see in grassroots development or in local government is that, we've said that the local government is the closest here to the people. It's easy for us that our local government secretariat or council secretariat is very close to all of us. In fact, sometimes, we have it as a walking distance. And unlike what you have for the state government, the state seat is at Alausa here. Somebody in Badagry cannot just come and say, I want to ask questions. And if it demands, we know our local government chairman, we know our LCDA chairman and all of that, I feel that the CDAs or the communities or probably land or youth organizations within the LCD and the LGA still has a lot to do when it comes to, demand for good governance, accountability. Because, even if we say that Lagos State is performing, I personally still believe that our local government can do better and do more. If you look around, if you walk around, you will still see, a lot of underdevelopment, which is, and the development we have, for me, is not commensurate with what we, local government revenue and what they are getting and all of that. So I believe that the CDCs, youth organization within the local government or the LCDA, should step up in, asking for more and, also demanding for good governance, accountability, and ask more questions. I still believe that the local government can do more in Lagos State. And so all of these organizations can come together. What we have presently, sorry to say, is still yes men. If you look at what we have in our CDAs and CDCs, I'm not saying that they should fight, but it's just that it is whatever the local government gives, they still take. I really don't see an avenue
making demands.
I still don't see an avenue where community-based organizations are asking more questions from the local government. And I believe that when we have all of this, there's something online, budgets, .ng. I don't know if you know that. Yes. If you can track all of these things, you can track all of these monies that are coming to the local governments across the 774 local government areas. So it's something we can pay attention. For example, I have I receive all of these things in my mail. You can subscribe.
Right.
They
then
send to
it
you,
gets-
depending on your local government area. They send to you on a monthly basis the revenue, what is coming from the federal government to your local government every month. And if you look at these monies, even though local government have expenses, they pay salaries and all of these things. And then, so you can ask questions based on all of
Okay.
these things. And then the local government also has an IGR, which is their internal generated revenue. So putting all of these things together, we can, keep abreast of the knowledge of funds coming to the local government and then ask questions based on that.
Right. I mean, you've given you've given your own perspective as to how much developments the local governments are bringing to their various communities. But we do know there are still challenges, and some of these challenges are very enormous. Especially now during the rainy season, you see videos around, you see flooding issues. Sometimes you hear, and then you still have issues around buck passing, where local governments will still say, well, this is a state road or a federal road. And so how can there be better synergy between the local government areas and the state government so that, we'll continue to have more representation at the grassroots, which is more meaningful?
Well, this synergy is that while the state government is performing its functions, I also believe that the local government should also wake up to its responsibilities.
Okay.
Look at the issue of flooding in Lagos State. We see that the Lagos State government has an agency,
yes,
I think,
yes,
EFAG, that has to do with, you see them all over, you see them around, even before rainy season, the silting,
the drainages
across the state and all of that. So I also believe that there are inner roads, there are streets. If you look at what EFAG does, they do major roads, maybe where we see. Local governments should also take up its responsibility by the silting, in the streets, inner streets. And there's a particular thing that Loma is doing presently, the Loma police, I think is working. One of the issues we have about, flooding in Lagos State is that our drainages are blocked. And what is blocking them? People take refuge to the drainages and throw it. I saw a video this morning at around Agbado Kyodo. The Loma police, they caught a lot of people very early in the morning on Saturday. And so if local government can also do this, and then, we'll have, and these are the synergy I'm talking about. As the state government is performing its functions, to avoid flooding, to ensure that our drainages are clear and our sewage is clear and everything, the local government should also do theirs in the inner streets and all of that. So this environmental issue is not just, to be left to the state government. And I see that some of these local governments also do all of these things, the silting, drainages, clearing and all of that. But this synergy should come, together and ensure that everybody is performing their functions. You go to areas, even within Lagos State, and you ask yourself that, is this Lagos State? Because some of these roads have not been done for as many years. They've been abandoned, and if you look at them, they are inner roads which belongs to the local government or the LCD. So I believe that when they wake up to their responsibilities and do much more as expected of them by the community and by the people, this synergy will be better.
Okay, talking about the chairman doing more to impact the people at the grassroots level, let's also look at the lawmaking organ at the local government level, the councillors. Are they on top of their game? Are they doing enough to put the executive arm of government on their toes to do more like we have at the state level?
Well, for me, the answer is no. Because maybe to the best of my knowledge, I will say no. Because how many bylaws do we even have in these LCDs or local government areas? And that's the primary responsibility of any councillor. They're also lawmakers, is to make laws, is to make bylaws and all of that. So I feel that the councillors, the lawmakers at the grassroots level, at the local government, they are not doing enough to make laws and also put the executive on their toes. Also just like the way we have the federal government having their annual budget, the state government having their annual budget, the local government also have their annual budget. How well does the councillor scrutinize this annual budget. This is one of their functions. And so how well do they do it? I'm sure that there are local governments who also go to financial houses to borrow money. Does it pass through the necessary, process, which is expected to pass through the lawmakers, they scrutinize why, and, the way the resource allocation, the funds allocation, even project oversight. How are these lawmakers doing it? I'm sorry to say that I don't think that all of these things exist in our local government areas or LCDs.
So what are some of the reforms that should be put in place to ensure that all of these things are done accordingly?
That's where the people comes in. The people voted for the councillors. They put them there. So if you are a councillor and, our democratic system is in a way that the way we elect our councillors, the way we put them into offices, that sometimes you can even say that they are not in the office through the democratic way. What I mean is, we say they are elected. We say they are voted in the office. But in the actual sense,
were they voted
in? Our selection process, let me use that
I like the word selection process.
So we know all of these things. So if at the end of the day, we voted a councillor in, if you look at the way people question the president of a country, the way people make demands from the president, in fact, it's as if everything is on the federal government.
Right.
Can we replicate that in our local government? Okay. Can we replicate that in our state government? If we do that, we will find out that there were explanations for a lot of things. And by that time, we'll be putting government on their toes. Even, I'm saying, because in Nigeria, when you just mention government, what comes everybody mind is federal government. Nobody is even thinking of the local government that is close to you.
Right.
And the same way the federal government is earning revenue is the same way state government is earning revenue. Same way and the local government. And these monies are expected to work for the people, to be used for the people. So if we have councillors who are not, awake to their responsibilities, it is because we,
allowing them to have it. So now the electorates too must always be as demanding as they are to the federal government.
Yes.
To the
local government, the councillors. If we do this, we see a lot of changes in our governance and all of that.
Okay, let's also talk about the quality of men that we elect as councillors at the local government level. Because if you can barely separate your left from right, then how would you be confident enough to look the chairman in his face and challenge him that how did you spend this particular money?
They are quality men.
They are quality men. Yes, so how come we are not getting quality service?
Well, like I have said, it's because the people are not making demands. We don't even believe that. Like I have explained, we don't even know, even if you know them, we just feel that these people are just there. They have functions. Like you have the National Assembly, you have the State Assembly. So you have you have the councillors. Right. And so if you can make demands from your reps or your senators, if you can make demands from your State House of Assembly members, you can also make demands. When I say demands now, I'm not talking about monetary terms. I'm not saying that they should fund
demand for projects, ask questions.
I'm not saying they should fund naming ceremonies. So I'm saying that not school fees, not I want to move my house. That's not the demand I'm talking about. It's about your drainage, the drainage on your streets is not being cleared.
Call them out.
Call them, ask your councillors, what are you doing about this? Maybe there's an insecurity issue within your domain, your ward, your neighborhood. Ask your councillor, how far? Your roads, like I mentioned earlier, there are some roads that have not even experienced bitumen in their life.
Right.
In their life, even grading at all. So your councillor is responsible. Ask him, let him take it to the local government. And so if we have all of these things, because even these councillors, they are laid back, majority
because nobody's
of them.
Challenging
nobody's
them.
challenging them. So when you ask them questions, they see that, it is even my duty to ask my chairman when I get to the council. So, and because they are your representative, it is not necessary that everybody should just walk to the council chairman and all of that. So if you have sent them, that we used to say, that we have sent them on errand. ask them questions.
Because we are gearing towards a local government election, we're talking about this. I still want us to stay with the councillors, because again, they should actually reside in those wards.
Yes.
And so when we have issues with councillors who don't even live in the wards, or who don't even live within the local government area, how then can they represent the people adequately?
Well, with my very little experience about councillors, most of them lives within.
They live within.
Yes, most of them. It might not be all of them anyway, but like I said, and even though we said, or even though it looks like selection, they try as much as possible to bring out somebody.
Those still within those
yes,
localities.
within the locality, and those who even grew up, not just come, you grew up within the locality.
Those who have at least, like Yorubas
They
who say, they have okunidi.
Yes,
you can always know their
yes,
houses.
they
and
have
where
the
they
knowledge
come from.
of the environment,
Right.
you know, the ward, and they know, you know, into streets and all of that. Some places, some wards are even lucky that these are people who have been community driven, who have been doing one thing in the community, who have participated, maybe a youth leader in the community, and some of them are being chosen as councillors. Not that they don't know, but because we don't make demands.
Okay.
That's why they are laid back. They just feel that a councillor go to the council, collect salary and sit down and forget and come back home. But when we make demands and say that, we are not saying that you can tar roads. We are not saying that you can deceive
lobby that
drainages,
those roads
but you
be
can
tarred.
lobby.
Okay.
You can tell the chairman that in so place, this is what we are facing. And so I feel that when we do all of these things, they will also, you know, perform their responsibilities as people's representative.
So sorry Jibola, so why should Lagos residents care about this upcoming local government elections? Why should? Because I know earlier Jibola asked you about voter apathy, and you said it is not limited to local government election.
Yes.
It is something that we've been witnessing for some time now. But this particular election, it is upcoming. Why should I vote?
The reason why, if you have your PVC, the reason why you should vote is because, you see, when we talk about funds, I spoke about funds coming from the federal government. Now, that money, those monies that they receive every month, is your money. So when you vote, you are required to ask questions. And one of these things is this: if you don't vote, you really don't have the right
To question.
to question, because you actually didn't put them there. But you know, the way it is that they say that democracy is the government of the people, by the people, for the people. So when you vote, and one of the pillars of democracy is elections and voting.
Right.
When you vote, you are in a democracy. You become a participant in that democratic process. And you can ask questions. Those monies are your money. It is very important. And so you should be interested in how those monies are spent, in how those resources are allocated to every street, to every infrastructure, to health and all of that. So vote so that your money can work for you. Some will ask you that, or some will say that in Lagos State, we already know who will win. Well, that mindset is why people get into office. Yes, well, where we are. It's because people will say that we already know the ruling party will take care. And that's where we are, where we are.
Okay.
You have options. Yes, in a democracy, you have options. People, even as we speak, there are parties who are also participating in these coming elections. They have chairmanship candidates, they have vice chairmanship candidates, they have councillors. So with these options before the electorate, they can choose who they want. And it is when you choose who you want, and if by chance or by luck or by, you are able to elect the chairman or the councillors, and that's when you can make demands and say, I voted for you, I put you in that office. So you must also, do what I want.
You must serve
You must serve me. That's the word. That's the right word. You must serve me. And that's why people should vote.
Okay.
All right, before we let you go, my question is in line with what Abimbola put to you earlier. What role do you think LASIEC can also play in encouraging people to come out, of course, give them voter education as to the power in their vote before the July 12 election?
Just like we are doing this morning, what we are also doing is the voter education. We just spoke about why people should vote, why the responsibilities of the local governments and all of that. So I believe that LASEC should step up on their voter education at the grassroots level, do campaigns across wards in Lagos State, and tell them that, and ensure and give the electorate the confidence that they will conduct a free and fair election. You know, one of the issues, just like we mentioned, is that people believe that either they vote or they don't vote. These are the people that will win the election. And so when LASEC gives this confidence that we are conducting a free and fair election, if you vote, your vote will count. When you choose a representative in your ward, we will ensure that, you know, the candidate who has the highest vote will be the winner. When this confidence comes, I believe that people will come out. You know, it's just to erase this mindset that either will come out or not,
The party
in power will win. And that's what I think that LASEC will really work on. That when people come out, when you come out to vote, your vote will count.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Olalekan, Public Affairs Analyst, for joining us on the program this morning. And we've been speaking about the Lagos local government elections and grassroots development. We appreciate your thoughts on the program.
My pleasure. Thank you.
All right. We'll take a quick break, and when we return, the conversation continues.